grab a seat under the chair or whatever. It's about to storm and rain. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just wanted to at least let it go for 30 seconds to a minute. All right, so I just wanted to read this right quick. I had to run out, and when I get back, then we'll get the read in. Okay. I feel like because I read a lot of philosophical views. I read a lot of things based on philosophy, whether it be Taoism and Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee, his books of philosophy, Five Rings, oh God, I can't get the words out. I was just studying a language, y'all, so forgive me. So whenever I study languages, it's not that I get confused or something, but it's the languages. It's like riding a bike. You learn how to ride it, and then for a week you're falling off because you actually learn how to ride it. Now you're going through the fear cycle like you were going when you were first riding it. It's the same thing. So anyway, I wanted to read a few quotes to you. So, Jim Brown knew my uncle. He just passed away at 87. Both my uncles, John Amos and Lonnie Wright, who passed away about 13 years ago, Denver Broncos, Denver Nuggets. Knew my family. But he I don't want to badmouth his light, but you remember the movie he made? That's why I said 100 Rifles. I shared it. I've watched it a number. I like watching westerns and kung fu movies, Wu-Tang Theater and 100 Rifles. And because just watch it, you know where I'm coming from. And how do we live? Okay, so I just wanted to add something to it. And one of the most important quotes that I reverberate with me is, the man who asks a question is a fool for only a minute. The man who does not ask a question is a fool for life. A lot of people sit there and we want to impose our will on people, and yet we have no free will. Well, we have not tapped into our free will. You dig what I'm saying? I'm just going to read a few of them. Okay, because these are the ones that I made it my business in my late 40s and now in my 50s to live by these, to actually practice them. If your plan is for 1 year, plant rice. I love this one. If your plan is for 10 years, plant trees. Yet if your plan is for 100 years, educate the children. You see the importance? Because out of that, all the other things will be accomplished, and that you can still do the first. I mean, it's very simplistic, and yet we have been confused and brought to this dilemma of purgatory, where you have these individuals running around all over the place thinking, I'm gonna act like a woman and you're a man. I'm gonna act like a man and you're a woman. And it matters not what breasts you remove and what you chop off or add to. You're still going to be a man and a woman, regardless of the perversions being pushed. I'm not saying that with hate. I am pointing out merely a fact that the purveyors of perversions want you to disassociate yourself with, that you can never do. Respect yourself and others will respect you. Now, we know that's not always the case. Yet, if you are truly respecting yourself, are you going to walk in the dimness or the dim lights of others whose lights don't shine forth? Is it possible that you can get caught up? Well, any woman who is walking home from work at 2 o'clock is bound for the floor. Do you get what I'm saying? Any children going to these centers with all the things going on now, the energy so fluctuatingly low, that's on the parents. Do you get what I'm coming from? It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I'm going to read one more, and I'm going to come back and reiterate. I just find it very important. Your life is what your thoughts make it. Here we have free will. We believe free will is exasperated by other conscious ideologies and narratives that are put upon you, when that's not the case at all. Meditation is key. It is the main punit to releasing yourself to a higher platform or plateau of existence. And if you don't utter your truth in reality, then you become the lie of somebody else's disparities. And I need y'all to get where I'm coming from. I'm sitting here at Friday. I was getting ready to order these books, and I'm like, no, James, I have morals I stand on. If I'm willing to pay half and a little more, what is the problem with you sharing it with me? And this is not begging. I don't do that. I am maintaining, I am leading by example, and I'm no leader. I am called chief. Telion Kwasi said, James, you are a chief. And I said, I really like that word because it is a French dialect. And he says, James, you study languages. I've known you for a long time, Chief Langley, everybody says this about you. Why don't you accept that role? And I'm like, it's hard to do because I walk together with my people. And chief is so benign. You need to be your own chief as you are your own GD, God. These are simple platforms of thought. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Do you know that when you train in martial arts, before your bones become a little dense, your knuckles get a little bruised up, a little calcified, we say muscle memory, right? I tell you, muscle memory really doesn't exist. It's practice and the fluidity of the response of the mind to remember what you acquiesced recently in learning. That when you stretch, people say, you're very flexible. I said, but it's painful. I said, the thing is to break past the pain. It's like running. When I ran that 10 miles a few years ago, 2.5 years ago, roughly almost 3 years ago, right? I said, I want to stop and die after the first 3 miles. I pushed to the 5. I didn't really get a second win, but I said, I've ran farther than this. And before I started subjugating myself to stop, I pushed into the pain. I became comfortable with the pain. And even though I made 8 miles and I was looking at my counter, I said to myself, don't look at it again because you will stop. I was making myself want to stop. So I said, stop thinking that. I eradicated the word stop at that very moment. And I just kept pushing forward. Even though my pace slowed down a little bit, I just kept going. Breathing like a what do you call those little bulldogs? Double pumping on my breath. But my legs still wanted to go. My arms still wanted to throw me forward. My mind started to come a little clearer and everything was ambient. And I just kept going. And when I got to the end of the trail and I looked up the street, I said, run up the street. I was literally legs burning. And something says, why don't you turn around and run it back? And I said, that's enough. And I walked about a mile home to cool down. And people who in the houses came out and says, you ran that whole? I was like, yes. He says, and they were like, and it wasn't about that. It was the fact that I allowed myself not to stop, not to quit. That's self-will without running riot. Remember I told you I wrote a poem that's with the American Poets Society in one of their books in the library of American poets. Self-will runs riot. City sidewalks that go on for miles and long enough to make my mind go wild. Well, the poem is there. It's a very long one too. And it used to be on Facebook, if you remember that, Sue. Like 5, 6, well, no, actually I wrote that about 10, 12 years ago, like 2 or 3 years that Facebook was in, and I was posting them on Facebook. And, Daniel Smith, few people were really digging them, but then I sent them off because they sent me a letter because they saw me posting them, I guess, on MySpace. And I realized there are people watching us. People are watching you. People are watching me. So what? Let's go back to this one. So what? And I'm going to run out here and then I'm going to get back. The man who asks a question is a fool for only a minute. The man who does not ask is a fool for a life. For a lifetime. If you plan, remember for 1 year? Plant some rice. If you, who was that? I didn't see your name. Appreciate it. Somebody just sent $30. If you plan for 10 years, plant trees, not just one. Now, if you plan for 100 years, you make sure the children know everything you know. Do you see that? That is omnipotent. That is truth in existence. I used to have people say to me, people that got into martial arts after the military. I mean, I was doing it since, middle school. Why are you teaching martial arts and boxing for free? Because the children and the women matter. I says, well, what is it to you? But you can make, I said, so you want to impose your weak little will that you have no control over on me? Do you think that is strong? Do you think your suggestion is powerful? I said, wow, you are really, really lost. I said, but I used to but then I used to curse everybody out. But I would say at the same time, for the people I know, why don't you just go have a seat in the back room? And when you get it together, you can move up to the front. Respect yourself and others will respect you. I don't ask nobody for respect. I respect myself enough to know what I'm speaking about and how I need to come across. There's plenty more. I've got books on philosophy. Or I have my own philosophical views. People, let's take it as a suggestion. Better yourself. Speak into the ethereal of things. Speak into your ether. Better your situation. Don't just ask yourself a question. Impose your will upon that question and make it not just a desire. Allow yourself to be fluid with it. Allow yourself to exist with it. It matters not how you plan it. If you have to sneak around something because something bad may come out of it, if you have to tippy toe to get to the place where you can actually walk comfortably in the sand with the water crashing at the leaks of your ankles, then so be it. Just remember, to get to a place, sometimes you have to go through the fire. I gotta run out because it's gonna be pouring down rain and everything. You heard the thunder and stuff, and I want to get back as soon as possible. Okay, so always as usual, I love you all. Rondo, Snoo, and whoever donated that, I appreciate it. It said 30. I didn't see the name. I think it said something needs you or something. Anyway, I'll shout you out later. Appreciate you. Love you all, and let me run out here, close these windows up, and get out here and do what I got to do right quick. All right. Somebody said that I perm my hair. My hair is not perm, people. I just laid it down with olive oil, lime, and my do-rag and brushed my hair to the side. That's all I did. All of it's just brushed, no grease. I don't put grease on my head. Olive oil, little coconut oil, olive oil, and lime. Lime makes it sticky. And after I got out the shower, a cold shower this morning, because I know my neighbor was like this, and I was, because I do that. Even though I like the cold water, I still dance. I still perform. And then the big part is letting it hit my back. I'm going to buy that little tub thing. You can just put the ice and water in, and you can climb over into it, and you can carry it with you everywhere. I'm going to get me one. It's like $234, so maybe this month. I don't know. We'll see. And I might go live and show y'all, because it helps burn fat. It helps do a lot of things. And I still got some love handles, y'all. I got to chip her down. And I'm not doing sit-ups. I stopped. I got big stomach muscles, but I got a little, But anyway, hit y'all up when I get back.